Coming to you from the bathroom on the trash transport Icarus. I'm James Nimmons.
Dana Ward.
And this is Pop Satellite.
Oh, wow. So,
We've
where
done
should
a
we
lot.
start?
Well, we've been doing a lot, so let's start with the con. That was fun.
Scares That Care
Yeah, Scares That Care weekend.
Williamsburg, Virginia.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We expected it to be decent, but it turned out being kind of big and very open and welcoming to people. And I was made to feel like, I'm a con veteran, but, I'd never been to this one before, but I wasn't othered, you know what I mean? The staff embraced us pretty well. We were just backing up a vendor that was there.
It wasn't just that. It was, like, the best way I can describe it is, because, our friends Dead Eds, Scott and Stacy Cannon, they were the ones that invited us because their other two cohorts had an emergency, had to back out. So they asked us if we would tag along because we didn't have any plans. So I had never really heard of this event, or
all we heard was that from our friends Scott and Stacy that it was a lot of fun. So we were like, okay, we'll come along and sit at the booth. If anything, we'll just people watch.
Wander around, look at all the horror stuff, like we generally do, especially, we're Days of the Dead veterans, so we kind of know how horror cons go, or so we thought anyway. But when we got there, it was like the atmosphere immediately hit you when you walked inside that place and inside that DoubleTree, and it never disappointed. All Scott and Stacy would ever tell us is you just have to go because you can't really explain it, and I kind of agree. I mean, we're going to go through everything that we did.
We didn't even do any panels, but it's not like I don't know. It's a great small con, and I hope it grows into a bigger and bigger con.
We may as well do like a little Gonzo report on this because we had a lot of shenanigans, honestly.
Well, that's what we're doing pretty much.
This is like, so we get there on Thursday and it's been a rough trip up. And so we get into our room finally, and we find out that we only have a king bed for four of us. So thankfully I had brought my air mattress,
which promptly
deflated on me, which we'll get to. But we got a rollaway for James, and they wanted to try and charge us like an extra $70-something on it, and I was like, oh hell no. So go down there because I work for hotels and I know how to.
We spent the weekend thinking that we were stuck with that.
Yeah, because I went down there and I put my card down on it just to make sure that everything was fine. I was like, I'll take care of this. I'm like, we're here for the event, and this is kind of a raw deal because nothing was ever mentioned about this and blah blah blah. I stood down there and talked to him for like 5 minutes, but we got your rollaway, and then blew up I blew up my air mattress. I used one of these like super deluxe Intex air mattresses. They're actually really good when they stay inflated, that is. Because about halfway through Thursday night, mine decided to spring a leak, and I woke up and I think it was like 5:30 in the morning, and this.
Well, you were like immediately almost it was leaky, and you tried to fix it. And you thought it was going to hold, and then you woke up at 5:30 in the morning when it's not holding.
Yeah, that's right. I had found like I had like
bandages and shit.
Yeah, temporary bandage on it, pretty much. And nope, didn't work. 5:30 in the morning rolled around, and it was like my midsection was on the floor, and my torso and my feet were elevated. My back hurting so bad. So I just started grumbling and hit the release valve and just let the air deflate out. That's about the time you woke up.
Yeah.
And we went down and ate the $13 a person breakfast,
which is no different from hotel free breakfast in any other shittier hotel,
or like a Hampton Inn or something. I mean, it's slightly
Don't
better
eat the
than
eggs,
that, but aside from that, it's pretty much the same stuff.
Don't eat the eggs. Y'all think those were eggs?
Well, when you don't start making them runny eggs, was it just go
Quit,
white?
man, I'm tired of eating slimy fried eggs.
Don't put that butcher knife to your throat.
I put the butcher knife up to her throat, and I said, "Oh, you're gonna make these eggs better than you've been doing."
Yeah, that's right. Sidetrack, sorry. We love you, Jesco.
Oh, I don't know if we love you or not.
No. So, my back's killing me. I'm in a grouchy mood. Thursday night, our actor friend, John Anderson, had popped in as well. So we actually got a little time with him. But he had asked.
This time he was a friend of a friend to us, really.
At the time.
Because we'd never spoken to him directly. You know, because
Just
we don't jock on and jock sniff on, you know, famous people at cons, especially if they're hanging around with our friends or whatever. Because that'll drive them off.
But he actually noticed my Star Trek ink, and so we started talking. And of course, you know, he was already friends with Scott and Stacy, so that was like conversation in itself. But John mentioned that he needed to go to Walmart because he had to get a couple things for his table and needed a ride. And of course, we were like, yeah,
we were
voluntold.
Voluntold. Yeah, we were voluntold to take the van.
I was like, whatever, yeah.
And we were like, we'll gladly do it because it's going to be cool.
Yeah. So we research the closest Walmart, and it's 10 miles away?
Yeah.
On Rochambeau Drive. I shit you not.
I looked it up and I just said, it's on Rochambeau Drive, and you guys went,
Yeah,
you didn't think I was serious.
Yeah, John and I both giggled and thought you were just like misspelling it or the way it was, you know. So we drive, we're having like stupid conversation. We're just being dorks.
Talking about people we hung out with at cons and famous people that we've met and who's an asshole and who's not.
And John's debating whether he wants to get, a diabetes supply kit or a can of oatmeal for Wilford Brimley to sign. He ended up with a can of oatmeal, by the way.
Yeah.
But
I had it sitting here earlier. You must have moved it.
I've got it packed. I had already packed it up, ready for shipping. Yeah, because he couldn't take it on the plane for TSA. We'll get to that though.
Yeah.
So we're bouncing around in the rape van, as John liked to call it, which is actually...
It's a scary white van with stickers on the back. You can't really see into it, and it looks like it's got a cage inside because of the windows are reinforced.
Mind you, this is
a band's actual wagon for a band named the Graveyard Boulevard.
Which is also what Dead Edge uses to haul their stuff around, which is also what we all rode in up here.
Terrible bouncy back seat.
Yeah, that didn't do my back any favors either.
Yeah.
But, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. So we get to Walmart. Well, we get to Rochambeau Drive, and John and I both were like, oh my God, you were not shitting. It's actually Rochambeau Drive.
It's real.
It's real, yeah.
Joking. And I was like, let me get my camera out. He goes, yeah, get a picture of that. And I couldn't get a picture of it, and there was another sign on the other side of the car. He goes, there's one over here. Give me the camera.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there at a red light, and I'm sitting there praying that the red light doesn't turn while them two are trying to scramble which angle to take the picture of the sign at.
He took my phone and snapped a couple pictures of it. He goes, one of them's good. So he goes, send me that. Friend me on Facebook.
So we continue to Walmart, and the three of us are like tropesing in. I'm in my usual girly regalia, and we have 6'8" John walking with us. We split up into Walmart. I find me another air mattress, thankfully, and
we had to get coffee.
Yeah, we had to get a few.
Like anyone cares, but
just a few supplies.
This helps us get through the story.
Yeah. Using it, we used it as an excuse to go to Walmart as well, to not just take John. And we actually needed stuff too. It's me a bed, of course, was the main thing.
Certainly needed one.
Yeah.
One of those.
So we get out of all that, and we get back to the con. And then we kind of settle down.
That's about when we start drinking.
Yeah, that we kind of settle down, and about an hour or two later, that's when the alcohol starts coming out, because it's Friday.
I'm half drunk, and that's when I met Sinister Cutter outside and talked about vapes for a bit.
And then, like, every time that I stepped outside, it was someone either, like, complimenting me on, like, my dress or what I was dressed in or my tattoos.
Yeah, you were popular.
I was. I really was.
This was your first con being out.
Yeah, it was actually.
and everybody just embraced you. You had these hot chicks all over you, too. Sorry, girls that we met at the con, you are hot chicks. Even though they wouldn't admit it.
Yeah, so I was overwhelmed all weekend. A lot of the staff not only were very embracing of us, but the crowd as well. Yes, I especially ended up making a ton of new friends. I love you all, and hopefully we'll be able to keep going. But Friday night, for sure, the alcohol came out, and oh boy. One of our other friends, an author, it was Scott and Stacy's friend because I forgot his name, but he wrote a book on
the drunk driving champion guy.
Yeah, the drunk driving champion guy. He apparently had a breathalyzer at his booth as well. So
yes,
what did we all take this as?
A challenge.
A challenge.
Challenge.
So the Kraken came out, the Jameson came out.
Y'all say it like it happened that way, but to me it didn't happen that way.
Because
to me,
you were already drunk.
No, to me it happened this way. Yeah, that's what everybody says. To me it happened this way. I'm walking in the goddamn dealer's room with Stacy, and she goes, "Oh, my friend over here has a breathalyzer. Let's go blow on it." And I went, "Okay." So I go over there and I blow on it, and he was like, "That's the highest of all of you guys." A 0.18.
Yeah, it was like a 0.18.
Because I was drinking rum and Coke.
Yeah, no, I had
Sailor Jerry and Coke.
I had been jockeying back and forth between Sailor Jerry, and I'd had some Jameson and some Bellhaven Black. So Scotty and I go next. I think Scotty blew like a 1-0, and I blew a 1-1. So it was like competition time now. It's like James is drunk. We need to catch up with him. Meanwhile, you were just super stupid.
I don't remember any of that.
Exactly. That's why your blood alcohol level was a 0.18. You don't remember anything.
That's rare for me. Very rare.
Saturday, hangover day, and usually Saturday's the party day. But no, it was hangover day.
I wasn't hungover though. I felt pretty good.
Yeah, I
slept in my kilt.
I was about to see what happened was he woke up in the morning and he actually went and ate and came back to the room and sat on the bed, and the next thing you know, he's back asleep. He slept for another like hour and a half.
Did I do that?
Yes, you did. Boots on and all. Boots, kilt, everything. You were fully dressed.
I think I remember that.
You just like sat.
Oh, I remember that.
It was like you sat down.
And samurai sleeping.
Samurai sleeping.
Yeah, if you watch the Seven Samurai, that's what they do on there. Like, this samurai will be like, "I'm going to run to the village and carry a message." And he'll run a mile, a couple miles to the village, do something, come back, run back, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm not needed at the moment," so he go over in the dark and just sit down and close his fucking eyes and just sit there and rest, because they can't sleep. So I was just like assuming a really comfortable position and closing my eyes, even though everybody was up and being active. There was no way I was going to go to sleep, but I got some rest as I was conserving it for the night to come. Because I knew I was going to need it because I had tied one on the night before. So it was very wise of me to just sit there and rest and gather up my energy like Goku.
We all thought he had passed back out, to be honest, because we're sitting there like giggling, pointing and giggling at him. It's like, that 0.18 done caught up with your ass.
Yeah, and I was just sitting there going, "I'm going to be all right. I'm just gathering my energy."
So Saturday was crowded. It was basically just nonstop interaction, making friends, wandering around.
You were everywhere. I couldn't follow you. You kept disappearing. Poof, gone. I'm going to pee, and then you would just be gone as hell.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of kept happening like that.
I didn't mind it because it'd give me an excuse to leave wherever the hell I was and say, "I'm going to go look for Dana." Just to see where you were.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, for me on a personal level, it was... every time that I would go out, or walk around somewhere, somebody would be like, "Hey, come with us," or "Hey, let's do this," or "You going to smoke?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure, let's go." I mean, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I am so exhausted, but it's such an exhaustion that I'm happy to have.
Meanwhile, while this is going on, we're going into the dealer's room and sitting at shifts at our friend's table, watching all their merchandise and stuff because they have a store. And we were, let them go out to smoke and eat and all that kind of stuff, use the bathroom. And so we're in there and we have like table buddies. people who are on the tables across from you and to your left and to your right, and maybe down the hall, down the end of the row or whatever, people you see from show upon show. Like, we've found one of the vendors there, Jilly Bean. She lives in our town, or a town nearby, and so that was awesome. And she's like, I don't have any friends. I'm like, well, no, that live by, basically. And I'm like, well, we live nearby, now you have friends.
Yeah, exactly.
It's awesome.
But just we were all stationed around people that we had been like hanging around with at a lot of other cons, and so that was fun as well, because we were, as I put it on one of my Facebook updates, we had a big thing of a cauldron of candy. So every time kids would come by, we would like give kids the candy and sell stuff to the big kids.
Yeah.
Because we're not adults, we're big kids.
That entire time, at the end of the row, I noticed the table where these clowns were, and Sinister Cutter was this. Of course, I didn't remember his name from the night before, but I just remembered talking to him and that he was really friendly.
I'm surprised you remember being conscious at all the night before.
Yeah, I had made friends without knowing it, and that's something else to talk about in a second. But I noticed these clowns down there. And I was like, oh, cool. There's, there seem to be these clowns that have something in common in relation to each other. And I learned they were they're chapters of the clown cartel. And so that was interesting, because we'd seen some of these clowns at other conventions.
And not really giving it any thought.
Yeah. And I'm looking out the window. Dana was looking up, like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm looking out this window because I thought I saw a snake up on the street. Anyway,
hallucinating, are we?
Maybe. Anyway, so the whole time I'm noticing these clowns, and the second day, and the last day actually, is when I went and talked to Scoops and Mischief about business and stuff, which I don't want to make any clown look boring or anything, but they know what the fuck they're doing. So we're talking about podcasts and similar interests and all that stuff, and they were just cool as hell to us, and they have been very cool to us
since then.
Ever since, I don't want to get into jock sniffing right now, but
it's not jock sniffing really, because we never set out to actually drum up business or to try and get in with anyone or anything else. This just came by happenstance because we were all standing outside smoking and talking. That's really what it was. And that's one of the things about this.
Well, that's what conventions are really for. That's how things are done sometimes.
I think I finally figured it out.
Similar interests.
Well, not only that, it's not just similar interests, but I think I figured out finally, as we're sitting here talking and recalling everything that we've done that weekend, that Scares That Care is truly what conventions used to be. Because look at them now. Look at the majority of them now. Anyway, it's not like that anymore.
Well, Chattanooga.
That's why I said the majority of them, not all of them.
There's still a bunch of cons we have never gone to that are conny and
stuff.
But
it just seems like, not only with the big convention revolution, because, you have stuff like Wizard World and all that, but even the stuff like Dragon or Dragon or San Diego, the big ones like that, the originals. It's like that sense of camaraderie and interaction is lost in the sea of just everything else that's going on. You don't have a lot of personal interactions. You don't. You may have some friend making and some fun and everything.
I have to disagree.
I think it captures. I honestly think it captures the true spirit of what conventions originally set out to be.
If I went to Dragon Con, I would have people that I haven't seen in a few years. But I could always go take my challenge coin and show up in the bosom of the Wolfpack and have a great time, because that's how it works with these people. And it was just them and a couple other groups really that were the core of when Dragon Con was really cool.
Right.
It was really a few groups that were going around and keeping it lively and looking out for the actual interests of the con. When you see things like like people who aren't on security dressing people down who are being rough with the giant balloon of Jägermeister. It looks like a giant Jägermeister bottle. People are fucking with the cables. And I'm like, already? It's the first night of con, and somebody's like, stop that, that's bad. And or somebody else was lifting up the thing you put the cigarette butts out in, and somebody else went over to him and said, put that down, you're going to fucking ruin it for everybody.
Right.
You know, and they were good at that, and they were members of the Wolfpack.
But it's just like, you start to get close to, 100,000 people a year. That's huge, dude.
Yeah, the real shit's going on, and still in its little places, and it's like a secret society. I wish I'd have joined that Church of Scott Bakula when it was a thing. It was the first Dragon Con I went to. I got off.
So I think that's what it feels like to me. It feels like the closest thing that I could compare it to is my very first Dragon Con, but that was also when it was just the Hyatt and the Marriott. So Dragon still wasn't that big. So that's kind of what it felt like to me now that I sit here and think about it, which is awesome. And I'm definitely in love with everything about this event. I'm definitely going back. It's instantly on like one I'm doing every year for sure.
It's a con for charity, so it's a great cause.
Yeah, non-profit. All the celebrities.
Everything con should have. It has a nice nightlife and a nice day life. For day for kiddies and night for titties.
But but it's like you said, it's for charity. That's why it's called Scares That Care. Yeah. Because they do rather donate everything that goes that's collected from the event, and they donate it to women's breast cancer and childhood diseases, and I think burn victims or something.
Well, I don't know exactly how it works, because you know how sometimes when there's an organization, it takes money to run it too.
Well,
the
even on their van,
are probably significant.
I was going to say, even on their van, they're 501c nonprofit. So judging by the way, because this was number 6, this was just our first one. Judging by the way everybody just crows about it, and the amount of fun that we had, and the amount of interaction and friends that we made, I can't. No, I'm not even going to entertain that thought. We're going to just put the kibosh on that right now and move on.
What thought?
That there's some sort of profit being turned somewhere. No.
Oh no, I wasn't saying anything about that. I was just saying you got to be careful when you say things like they give everything over to charity when they might not be able to. There might be some sort of.
Well, there's always going to be operating costs for sure. You have to have that
like that in play, and you don't want to get anyone in trouble.
But when you say everything, it's like you almost have to assume that there is operating cost involved, and after taking care of that, that's what's donated, because you do have to run it still. But there's no profit. Like, no one's taking home a paycheck.
Yeah. So I am happy to be on Hellfire Radio. And
yes. Going back to the clowns.
Supposing when you hear this, it'll be the weekend, and you will be just like Iron Maiden fans waiting for Iron Maiden to come on, wanting Scoops and Mischief.
We're Scoops and Mischief opening act right now.
Yeah, we're the thing keeping you from having Scoops and Mischief sooner, which is not really true. That's just the way Iron Maiden fans look at the opening act.
Slayer fans tend to do the same thing sometimes too. Not all of them.
Yeah, okay.
It's a joke.
I've never been to a Slayer show, but thanks to you, actually, I've been to all the Iron Maiden shows that I've been to, which is 3. That's just more than a lot of people. But is there anything else you want to say about that con?
Just
because
go to it, go support it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you will make a ton of friends. You will have some of the best interactions with everybody there.
Get drunk at night.
Well, I mean, you don't even have to get drunk. Honestly, you really don't. I mean,
you don't have to, but you can.
You can, but the atmosphere there lends to not even having to. And
speak for yourself. I was sore the second night going, where's my booze? And I don't have any booze. I'm not having any fun because I saw Becca drunk as shit. I'm like, I want to be drunk as Becca. And, and Becca was drinking and this girl Hickey, who they work for. Well, Hickey works for the con, and Becca had never been to a con before, but she was on staff this year. And then this guy, I can't remember his name, but he had the beard. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
the guy with the beard and the hair sticking out the sides of his hat. And he was talking about politics.
Oh, yeah. There were some interesting characters.
Well, before he got really wound up, it was cool talking to him and Hickey about politics. I mean, we had this long conversation just about politics, and it wasn't a argument. It was just, what's wrong? I don't know what's wrong. This is what I think's wrong. And, it was just kind of fun. You see people that didn't want to argue politics. They just wanted to discuss. That was refreshing.
Yeah. I mean, everything was refreshing, honestly. I had so many just general conversations.
And then
about just different stuff altogether.
Dennis's, Matt Dennis and his wife, I forget her name. She will have to forgive me. We just added them on Facebook.
Oh, man. Yeah.
We had a great conversation with them about Friday the 13th because he's an expert on Friday the 13th. And, even I was like, did you play the video game? He goes, play it. I fucking funded it. My name's in the credits, bro. I was like, fuck yeah. That's great.
Yeah, you
fucking
guys,
awesome.
You guys are going to have to give us just a little bit of time. Our brains are still melted. We'll put it that way. So remembering everyone instantly is going to take us just a little bit.
But yeah, so met them, and that was also the last night. But you disappeared at some point. This is night number 2, and I'm like, no, I got no booze.
Oh dear.
And so that's when we met Linda and Lou. You met Linda.
Oh yes.
Out in the hallway because of her tattoos.
She had a really pretty floral full sleeve tattoo.
Yeah, and she was like, "You guys want some shots?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, it's con." And so we went in there, and I had to say, Lou is, now that I've met him and gotten to know him a little bit, been embraced by the guy, he was fucking frightening.
Oh yeah, he like his arms were as big around as my thighs.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I saw the special forces emblem, and I was kind of schnockered, so I'm like, that's important. I don't know what this means, but it means something bad. Don't fuck around here.
Don't make this man angry.
You should not fuck around. So, she takes us back into the bar, and there's B-Movie Barry, who's clayguy.com. I had a card in here so that we could give people shout outs, but it's clayguy.com or theclayguy.com. He makes clay figures from all the schlocky movies that you love. You have to check him out. And if you go to what I've said and it happens that that's not actually the link, just send me an email and I will tell you the proper link. But so B-Movie Barry was in there, and they were talking and having a good time. And somehow we get to talking about geekdom, and Lou, who looks like a big barbarian with his forked beard that's braided into 2 braids which meet at the bottom.
I mean, I was thinking biker, like big
he had on
biker
a shirt.
boss.
Yeah, he had on a shirt, so yeah, biker. But I was like, oh my god, what are we doing? We just followed her in here, and if he's smart, he's gonna look at us and say, get the hell away from my wife and my friends.
Carrying on. I'm going to get a drink later.
Yeah.
I was prepared to be like, okay, this guy don't like us, especially me.
But we started talking about this tattoo idea that he just got done, and he shows us on his phone, and he's like, "Can you spot the different elements in this tattoo?" You know, and it's like a find a hidden picture sort of thing. It was a coat of arms, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" So what looks like, you know, you have a lion or something on each side, or a dragon. You had on each side of the shield, you had a xenomorph on the left, and a pumpkin head on the right, and you had this shield, and then on the shield there was a stripe that went from corner to corner, you know, at an angle, and there was like, "Are these the Infinity Stones?" And in one of the quarter or third of the shield, there was the Imperial Cog from Star Wars, and it's clayguy.com. And
I knew I had it somewhere. I was looking through my deck as he was talking. Sorry, folks.
these scrambled eggs that were at the top of the shield. I was like, "Oh, that's the human centipede." And he goes, "You got it. After that, he just lit up, and we just talked geeky shit for I don't know how long, because we were getting drunk. And instead of shots, you know, Linda looks at us and is like, "What do you want to drink?" And I'm like, "Holy shit!" I had to think for a second, going,
Yeah,
I had to do math.
I was kind of confused. I thought she was like just buying a round of shots or something, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting here hoping, God, I hope she doesn't get tequila.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. 'Cause
You said anything but tequila.
Yeah, I said anything.
And I was like, yes, anything but tequila.
Because tequila makes Dana quite violent,
It
but
just
not
makes me
towards,
instantly angry.
but not towards humans, towards inanimate objects.
I'm just angry that I drank tequila. That's what I'm angry about. It's like stubbing my toe. And especially if you pass it to somebody without telling them.
I remember blurting that out. What do you want? Anything but tequila.
Yeah. Anything but tequila, huh? I was like, yeah. And I remember trying to stump B-Movie Barry, but he's seen everything that I could think of.
Oh, dude was on his game, man,
Yeah.
for sure.
I was just like, "You seen that movie?" Yeah, I seen that movie. But he was awesome to talk to. See, when I meet people at cons, if I'm drunk, then I just take away a feeling. You know, I don't remember what we talked about, because most people, I assume, go, "Oh, I met you at this thing and we had this conversation about economics and it was up and down."
And then my first question is, were we drinking?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I don't remember.
Yeah, my thing is I just have snapshots of feelings, you know. I'll just reduce the entire conversation to a feeling that I got about the person, and I file the feeling away. So I remember the person when I see them again, and I go, "Oh, I got a feeling. You know, I got this good feeling about you. We're friends." And a couple times I've been right. You know, like I've seen people at cons and then forget about it because we got trashed.
Which is
And then I see them
common.
again, and I felt like I was meeting them for the first time, but really we got trashed before. And I go, wait a minute, we've gotten fucked up before!
Yes, we have.
And then, like my friend Eric McElveen that I usually see at Con Carolinas, and he
Pete
goes,
Hickey's
he
another
goes,
one.
He goes to other cons.
Our
And,
Canadian friend.
and Pete Hickey's, I met him through
Our
an
knucklehead.
ex-girlfriend. Met him through an ex-girlfriend. I don't know how you met Pete, but I met him through my ex-girlfriend.
Conuga, actually.
Brima. Yeah, he was at Conuga, which was strange because he has to come from Canada.
Yeah, he comes out for Dragon, but I met him actually at Conuga, and yeah,
Strange.
we.
Pete, you need to come back to Conuga.
Yeah, Pete, you need to come down and hang with your U.S. family some more.
Yeah, dude.
But other people that I met that stuck out were Nicole Rodebeck that had the Eclectic Goods. This girl hand paints shoes, and we're talking like superior artwork on these shoes. Like,
Someone called her Trish.
no, her name's Nicole.
Okay, I
But-
was drunk.
Eclectic Goods, and like she can do Converse, she can do Doc Martens, she can do. I mean, she had like
Yeah.
double-sided Ghostbusters, double-sided.
I want some Slimer fucking Chucks that she's got.
She had double-sided.
She'll do 'em in your
Doctor
size.
Who, and
It's a unique piece of art every time she reproduces the picture by hand.
yeah, anything you can think of, give her the artwork idea, and like you got to discuss prices with her, of course. But
So she said about like a pair of shoes about $100, but
but
it's fucking custom art, and it will last through most things but snow. You can't wear them in snow.
Yeah, she was very specific about not putting them in snow, but everything else
Scratches the paint off.
Yeah, she said everything else it would survive with no problem because of like the seal coat she puts on it, which is cool. So check that out for sure. That's Eclectic Goods. And then our other friend Gina that we met, I'm not going to give out her last name out of respect because she doesn't want it. But darling woman. And she, I think this was like her first or second,
con.
her first con, yeah.
And she was on staff, right?
I don't think she was on staff. She was just friends, but she was another one. I mean,
One
like
of Jocelyn's friends, right?
Yeah, she was one of Jocelyn's friends, and awesome to hang out with. Sweet lady. She has an organization called Fight Fearlessly that helps rape victims. So check that out as well. FightFearlessly.com. That's a bunch of the highlights that we have here. Sort of gonzo, but I mean, honestly, it's all for charity. Everybody knows it. Everybody that was there was having an awesome time.
Let's not forget to mention Jelly Bean. It's Jelie Bean. You can Google her. I don't have her card anymore. She's gonna be so mad at me.
I don't think I have it either, unfortunately.
That's
But
how she spelled her name.
So
sure.
Check it out there.
Yeah.
But Scares That Care, Williamsburg, Virginia. Check the dates. Get your shit in early. Go. And
get a vendor
you will
space.
Never be disappointed with this show.
Throw a party. Invite everybody. Invite me.
Even if you don't throw a party, just go and come out and socialize and drink with the rest of us. It's family. Like the welcome banner says, welcome home, because you are definitely home. We were welcomed with open arms into the home, and we're going back from now on. As long as Joe Ripple puts it on, we will be there.
Yeah, Scares That Care was really awesome. So I was reading about, on Bounding Into Comics, Marvel writer Saladin Ahmed. He said, "We live in an omnipresent culture of misogynist white supremacist violence." And this guy writes for Marvel. His extended tweet, so that people can't accuse me of using it out of context. The complete tweet is, "Of course, video games cause violence, but..." Wait, hold on. "Of course, video games don't cause violence, but it's always worth thinking about how any given game partakes in our omnipresent culture of misogynistic white supremacist violence." Commie shit. It's commie shit. He's also admitted before, that his politics goes right into his writing. And how do these people get jobs doing comic books? Why are they coming for comic books? Why do the commies... The commies! I'm telling you, resist every Marxist thing that comes your way. That shit is gross. It's bad for you. It's bullshit. Marxism. Bleh. 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 It doesn't work out. It always ends up becoming communism and killing 150 million people every time. So, yeah, I don't get it why this person is being so socially minded. Because someone earlier, I saw a meme where somebody was talking about, if you didn't get the social justice undertones of all the shit from your childhood, then you weren't paying attention. I'm like, no, they taught you lessons and they used clever means to do it. But there's a fine line in teaching kids, be accepting of others using some colored bears and, changing races of characters arbitrarily because you're worried about representation instead of making your own characters,
Yes, please. I mean, I forgot who said it, but, if you want...
Saladin Ahmed.
Well, no. I'm saying, I forgot who said that, if you want this character, this type of character...
Make it.
Then make it.
See if it works.
Stop meddling with what's already there. We don't care that you do it, and we welcome it, of course. If you create a new character, stop meddling with the old ones.
I mean, they're not there to become a platform for every new ideology. If you got a good ideology, its own character should fly. That should go on their own, stand on their own 2 feet. Or tentacles, or whatever you make. But, yeah, so... Saladin Ahmed, get your head out of your asshole.
I was looking
asshole.
for something one of my friends said about the whole thing. Like, I think it was blaming violent video games for people in mass shootings is like blaming porno for all sex offenders or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I like the meme that I
Oh,
saw.
here it is. I would buy the theory that video games make people commit mass shootings if every 18-year-old boy wanted to deliver pizza because they watch porn.
That's what it was.
Thank you, Dakota Lawrence, for that. That was hilarious and very spot on.
So Lena Dunham is getting accused of sexual harassment. Uh-oh. Do you know who Lena Dunham is? You don't have to know because she's nobody.
I don't pay attention.
She's an actress that somehow gets bit parts in Hollywood movies. And since she was a bit player in this movie with Brad Pitt, maybe she felt she had a connection with him because they were on the set together. And I can
if
understand.
it was something with Brad Pitt, then I
can understand a shared sense of camaraderie and all because being part of a production, but that does not entitle you to knocker someone on the red carpet in front of Jesus and everybody without them being able to react or rebuff you, and they go along with it just to save face, which is what Brad Pitt seemingly did. But he was not into it, and now she's getting accused of sexual harassment, which is funny because she's an actress, like I said before, and she considers herself a comedian, and she's not funny. But she admitted when she was younger of basically sexually abusing her little sister, and she got a pass for it. And so nobody's really with a brain has trusted her since she wrote about that. It was some sort of memoir.
Like, this is all something or anything that I hadn't heard of personally.
Yeah, but it's funny that she's getting accused of sexual harassment.
Holly Weird, as I like to call it, it's rife with all of this, and you're going to have there's so much conflict, and there's so much side taking going on that I'm just it's almost like you want to sit back with a bucket of popcorn and just watch the carnage at this point. You pick your poison because something's going to rot your brain.
Yeah. Well, I'm just happy that she's getting in trouble.
Reverse sexual harassment doesn't get enough.
I don't
spotlight.
put reverse. There's no reverse anything. It's just sexual harassment. She's doing the same thing. There's no need to call it reverse. It's just like if it's a black person doing something racist to a white person, it's not reverse racism. It's just racism. Love, Death, and Robots is getting renewed for a second season, and that's just making everybody happy. I don't know if you've watched any of it.
I think I watched a couple episodes.
That shit it's an awesome show. It's kind of like the Twilight Zone, and usually it's 3D animated in some form or fashion.
That's kind of what I thought. It was like really animated Twilight Zone type show. Half asleep when I watched it, so I'll have to give it another shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last show that I watched was Good Omens, and which is outstanding. It's definitely from a different perspective than all of the book readers will say it's from. But, one of the authors is dead. So, Neil Gaiman had he had a lot on his plate when he made it. So.
And as far as video games go, I've liked to talk about games that have been out a while that people might not have had a chance to get around to playing because, not everybody stays completely up on game systems and that kind of thing. Not everybody can afford to do it. So there's a ton of people out there who are getting old games for cheap at GameStop and stuff. And so Ghost Recon Wildlands has probably been out a little while, but I've been playing the hell out of this game, and it's a lot of fun. If you like shooters, that is. It's basically Grand Theft Auto in Bolivia, and you and three other people can play as a team of 4 and go all over the map. You can be separate from each other. You can completely separate. There's no reason you don't have to stay together. I mean, there's a reason to stay together, but you don't have to.
Woohoo!
And it's so many vehicles and missions. I'm bound to put hours and hours and hours into it because I've already been playing it for a good month and a half. And Cuphead came out months ago,
Dude, this is one of the most difficult video games ever.
It is fucking hard, but it's 2D animated, like a classic old. I want to say pre-Disney, Disney Looney Tunes, just old
It's
cartoon
like old
style.
20s and 30s style
Yeah.
animation.
Just spooky. Everything has a face on it. It's an acid trip.
The soundtrack, the specific type of animation.
And they even give tips of the hat or a big middle finger to famous platformers all throughout the game. If you're observant, you can catch it. Like for instance, if you on the first level, Mario, you first time you see a mushroom, the mushroom wakes up and spits a cloud of death at you. It doesn't help you out, and neither does the flower. The flower spits a seed at you that turns into a fireball. You can't get help from the flowers.
And your weapon is a water gun.
Your weapon is not a water gun. It is you snap in your fingers.
Oh.
You're snapping your fingers because Satan gave you powers, and that's about all the things you can do is snap your fingers, and it shoots a little energy at them.
Oh, I thought it was like a little water gun that was shooting like water.
No.
Oh, okay.
And if you keep playing, you get other weapons and other paths and beams and stuff.
But my God, this game! It's like
boy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a side scroller.
It's got side-scrolling levels, and it's got just levels where you fight, but it's still side-scrolling.
Yeah, but the difficulty level, I mean, we're going to give it a 4 out of 5 on the difficulty because you will definitely want to spike your controller, kick the TV, cuss this thing out.
Yeah, if you've got anger problems.
Yeah,
you'll be
I
like,
mean,
motherfucker.
I have heard you only play this game for 20 minutes and about throw the controller across the room. This game has pissed you off so bad.
Yeah. Well, it's because, you'll get to the end of a level and you only got 3 hit points. You can only get hit 3 times, and some levels are just difficult as fuck. And you get near the end, and you got 1 hit point left, and something stupid takes your life, and you're just like, fuck.
I'll be doing something out here. Fuck. Uh-oh, there he goes again.
Yeah. I don't have anything else here that I give a shit about talking about. We touched on all the subjects that I care to for this episode.
Well, except for, I did have my 6-month hormone update.
Oh, yeah, forgot about that.
Dupe. We're still tired and out of it from the weekend.
This is all I had written down on the paper. I forgot about that. So how did that go?
It went well. It just the exhaustive amount of traveling because South Carolina only has 2 of these places, and I have to go to the one in Charleston, which is like a 3.5-hour drive one way.
Where's the other place?
Columbia, which is the state capital, but they don't have hormone stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, it's only in Charleston that they offer the hormone therapy. But no, it's a pretty standard process by this point once you actually get past the initial thing, which did I go over that last podcast?
What?
Going in and like how got everything started? I don't think I did.
I don't think you touched on it too much.
Well, we'll backtrack a little bit then. How about that? So I actually started using Planned Parenthood. I started back in February, and the way that I got started was I could never find like a suitable therapist because normally you have to have like a therapist referral for a doctor's office or something to actually start you on hormones. Through a lot of searching and inadvertently stumbling upon the link of Planned Parenthood, I noticed that they do offer hormone replacement therapy at some of their locations on informed consent, where you don't need a therapist letter. So when I set the appointment, it was in November, and my appointment wasn't until February. And I had to wait that long. And so when I get in there, it's like they grill you. It's not just, oh, here you go. Here's a pamphlet on what you possibly might have going on. It's like they sit you down and ask you like 200 some odd questions about, and it's some weird things that you may think is strange at the time, but it does have a significant impact.
Stranger than wanting to chop your dick off?
Yeah, I mean, because it deals with a lot of, I mean, like depression. Do you cut yourself? Have you?
Oh, those aren't strange
are
questions.
you suicidal? Or no, not that, but just what sort of personal habits do you have? Like, do you have any sort of like bad habits?
Do
like
you wipe your ass?
a nail bite? Do you bite your nails consistently, or do you have like a nervous tick? Things like that. But they also gauge your mental stability as well, because a hormone change is no joke.
No, you can go cuckoo.
Oh, quite fast.
Cuckoo.
Quite fast. This is a great transformation, and the greatest of spectrums. So after that, I imagine that they either decide yes or no after that's done. So I'm guessing I passed because I've been on the stuff for 6 months now. They do blood work. They do a metabolic panel on you to make sure, like, everything is in line, that you're not a diabetic or you don't have anything else going on that would have some sort of adverse reaction. Then the doctor that actually prescribes you everything will go over in detail what your generalized stuff of what you're going to go through and the typical progression of things. Everybody's slightly different, of course, because of genetics. So what one person experiences is not exactly what the other is going to experience. So this is a generalized spectrum from a broad,
lots of people,
patient base. Yeah,
I mean, people should pay attention, but because there are trans people make up 0.03%.
We are the minority of the world.
Well,
the minority.
No, I can't remember what I was going to say.
Sorry about that.
Everybody knows at least one somewhere down the line.
Whether you think you do or not.
There's one around you somewhere.
Yeah.
And just this can cut off having weird questions at the pass.
Oh, absolutely. That's part of my intent for doing this.
Yeah, well, because a lot of people don't even want to talk about it.
And
it's private.
It is private, but in the same respect, if you want to have societal acceptance and if you want society to not be judgmental, then people have to know what's going on. They have to, it's if you don't know, ignorance breeds fear.
It certainly can. Yeah.
And that's what we're dealing with. So, Planned Parenthood, bless those people. Please donate. Please support Planned Parenthood, because they're not just about abortions. They're about health in general. And not just women's health. Men's health, too. Trans health. They are there to help.
They're not so much for men's health, actually.
No, they actually do have men's health stuff.
They got ball cancer stuff going on there?
That you can have cancer screening there, yes.
Because in general, they just they don't even do prostate exams anymore. Because they're like, well, just wait till you develop a problem. And that's what men get.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So,
but they are a wonderful organization that deserve to be around, because they do help a lot of people.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
But getting back to the transition, side note there. Sorry about that. You get prescribed your estrogen and androgen blocker, and then you get informed of the dietary and lifestyle changes that you're going to have to make when you're on this stuff. And if you're on spirolactone, which is the weakest of the androgen blockers and the only one that is not actually used to treat prostate cancer that I found out, you have to watch how much potassium you ingest, because it is what's known as a potassium-sparing diuretic, which means it acts as a diuretic, but it does not allow your kidneys to flush out as much potassium with everything else as they normally do. So you have to be very, very careful. If you overdose on potassium, it's as bad as not having enough. Nausea, vomiting, shakes, and if you have too much, your heart will stop.
That's wild.
Fun stuff. Estrogen also causes sugar retention. So I also have to watch my A1C levels as well. Sorry about that. So on top of dietary changes, your body's going to go through, I mean, this is just from the male to female perspective, because I have several female to male friends as well that we could bring on at some point if they wanted to come on and talk about their, how their bodies have reacted. But the changes, I wouldn't say they're immediate, but you do start to feel changes within the first couple of weeks of actually taking hormones. And it's a slow progression from there. You don't really... the first real noticeable thing is your chest does get sore because you are developing breasts. And the soreness off and on... a lot of my female friends have been give the sarcastic point finger and laugh like, welcome to the club,
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they have.
Oh yeah, a lot. So
we did the same thing when I went yesterday to visit our friends in North Carolina. This woman named Michelle was talking about how surprised her friend was when her friend went female to male. And her hair fell out and her body started to fall apart, because if you don't exercise at least a little bit after a certain age, your body just softens.
Yep.
You just get soft all over your body and all your tissue droops. But I was like, haha, welcome to the club.
Yeah, there's a couple of my...
testosterone will kill you.
Well,
it kills you.
There's been a couple of my female to males that I've joked with. And it's like, how do you like getting randomly horny all the time? And they're like, oh my God, yes. It's like, that's a real thing. You have no control over that. You can just be walking around and all of a sudden it's like, hi, we're horny now. It's like, what the fuck? Really? I'm trying to do shit here.
Your reptile brain wants to reproduce. It's seen things. And it's turned on the launch sequence, to quote Ray Romano. That's what your reptile brain is doing. And your monkey brain, too.
So, you have not only that, but your skin does soften up. And the filter between what you find or what gives you an emotional response and being able to control that emotional response kind of erodes a little bit. And it's not in the sense that you think. You still have cognitive mental control over everything that you do naturally, but
your emotions are stronger.
Your emotions are stronger, your senses are more sharp. And also, and I joked around with my doctors about this today. I could do without randomly crying at stupid shit.
Yeah.
Things that I've heard or seen 100 times before that have never warranted any sort of emotional response. All of a sudden, I get misty-eyed. Oh my God, and I'm like, what the hell? Oh yeah,
you gotta watch out because depression can do that too. Depression can make you cry at random things.
It can, but I don't believe that's what this is because overall I don't feel down. I never have.
Well, there's all kinds of the most sinister type of depression. You don't feel down. You just you're not there. You're
right.
Not fully present. You're not living your life.
But this is also a documented effect of hormone of estrogen. That's what it does. And so that's a side effect is, you get all weepy at some random shit that you find touching all of a sudden.
Crazy.
That's just the way it is. That's the chemical exchange. So whenever you encounter a woman that just like out of nowhere finds something like touching or whatever else and you see her crying, that's estrogen.
Of course
that is estrogen all the way.
Also when it's like, what do you want to eat? I don't know, I don't know. That's estrogen.
I don't know about that because
where'd you leave your keys? I don't know. I don't know.
That's pretty universal, isn't it?
You know what you want to do? No, I don't know what I want to do. That's all estrogen.
And also, there's
Say I'm wrong.
I know some men like that.
Yeah, they're womanly. They're womanly men. I don't know.
I don't know. So you also, I mean, you have appetite changes. You have, like I said, sensory changes. Like my sense of smell has gotten much sharper than it was before.
Yeah.
My sense of feeling my touch sense has actually increased as well. But my skin has also gotten softer.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not.
Correlation.
It might be a correlation, of course. Yeah. My hair, as far as like my scalp hair, naturally was just thick all the time, like really thick, really wavy. And it actually has taken sort of spells back and forth between being thick and wavy and sort of wispy and windblown at times. So that's been interesting to kind of wrap my head around.
Wait till your voice starts cracking.
Well, yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. There have been that's sort of a 50-50 thing. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on the testosterone, how extensive the testosterone effect on the vocal cords have been. But we'll see. You know, like I said, I'm only 6 months into this.
Yeah, it takes a couple years.
Yeah. I actually started, I think I mentioned laser hair removal on my face, and my other body hair has greatly decreased as well. So, to this point, the checkup today, they draw blood every time to do a metabolic panel. That's kind of standard practice. And then they, have you had decreased libido, decreased ejaculations, decreased erections? Have you noticed your body hair? Have you noticed, these other changes, or have you noticed anything out of the ordinary that you might be concerned about? Stuff like that. Talk to the doctor, another 90-day, 3-month prescription of everything that I need. And, if I have any questions or concerns, of course, she's always available, and she always calls back. She's very good.
Don't get us wrong. I mean, Dana may be transitioning into a woman, but she will punch you in the throat and and sacrifice her job to do it.
Don't grab me.
Yeah.
Just don't come up and randomly. Okay, I will take that
Just
back.
don't get in your face.
I will take that back. I don't mind being grabbed, so long as I know what's going on.
Yeah.
If you are aggressive and come and grab me, like or yelling something and grab me by my shoulder and yank not only my shirt but my bra strap and cause great pain in my chest, then yes, I'm going to turn around and punch you in the throat, which I have done because someone did that to me. So if you aggressively put your hands on me, then yes, I will punch you in the throat, and not getting off lightly.
I think that's hilarious.
Grabbing, consent with anything else, if I know what's going on, that's cool. If I consent to it. Aside from that, no.
I was just looking at a message from Chris.
No worries.
He's all right, doing okay. He got a nice place with his girlfriend there, and yeah. But more on him later.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's about the hour and 3-minute mark. I don't really have anything on cue here to talk about.
I think that's about it too, because like the main bulk was just transition update and our shenanigan-filled weekend at Scares That Care and our newfound convention home.
And
one of our found
Hellfire Radio.
Hellfire Radio, of course. You guys.
Well, see, I wanted to get into that
fucking
for
rock.
a minute. That's something I did want to touch on. The last day we went over to their table.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember why.
See, this is our ADD podcast, folks.
I can't remember why, but I think I went over there to see if this other woman had a kid who was hanging out with them, and she didn't want her kid to bother them, you know.
Right.
But she didn't know how to go about finding out without making her kid look stupid. So she didn't want to go over there at all, because her kid was like maybe 12.
Right. Oh yeah.
11 or 12. And so I was like, I'll go over there. Figured out. But I got into a conversation with Scoops, and I was just captivated, you know, with his stories of all the stuff they've done. It kind of mirrored. I mean, they've done a lot more parties and shit than we have.
Oh, way
But it
more.
mirrored the shit. It mirrored us, like con Nuga parties and all the con parties that we've gone to, and the music events that we've done ourselves that we've promoted and put
Right.
on. And
I mean,
it was just
yeah.
good to talk about that kind of stuff with somebody that knows.
I mean, I was in on a little bit of it, but you know, like you pointed out, I was kind of drug around everywhere.
So we're both ex-promoters too. Not only am I an animator, but I used to do events. I still kind of will do them if somebody comes at me with the right idea. But I suppose that goes for you too.
As far as like any sort of artistic talent, I can play drums. And that's about it.
No, I mean events.
Events. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Hanging up, you know.
Had a
'cause
brain fart.
A while you were like, I don't want to be a promoter no more.
Well,
And
I mean,
I don't really want to.
It's not so. I wouldn't mind it if I were in the right setting to do it, because, you know, the area that we're in was what really kind of soured it for me, because the area that we're in, that we were doing it in, was just so fickle and so.
Yeah, we got the firmament now though.
So I don't know. It would be something to look at, but I haven't really considered it because we've been doing like this stuff, and so I'm not sure. Maybe, but we'll see. I'm really happy with Hellfire Radio picking us up, and with more suggestions and comments and stuff, you know, we'll refine the show as we go on, because we haven't really had any real
We're going on nothing right now.
Yeah,
so.
we haven't had any real feedback or anything. We've just kind of been sitting
Yeah.
around shooting the shit and,
So-
you know, trying to figure it out as we go. So, yeah, we do take constructive criticism, or if you want to tell us we fucking suck, then you can tell us that too. Then we'll be like,
And
okay,
then I'll
fair
give
enough.
us something to talk about other than the things you were like, you just didn't talk about nothing. Well, I mean, there's nothing else for you to listen to at this moment, is there? But, you know, we will talk about something if you use the email address psyker840 psyker840 at gmail.com. That is how you get in touch with us right now.
Either that, or you can go to the Facebook page, Pop Satellite, and leave
Yeah.
a public comment or something of the like. We don't care.
Or you can go to popsatellite.com and you log in and hate us.
Yeah, there you go. You can do that too.
You can log in and become a member and hate us. But either
give
way,
give us hateful suggestions. You know, tell us to go jump off a
otherwise
bridge.
we're
I
going to
don't
start
care.
reading hate mail, and we'll have guests and shit, and we'll eventually do live things where everybody can chat and participate and be a fool. You know, that's all coming down the pipe. And if you lasted this long into the episode, you know that.
God bless you.
Yeah, because a lot of people might have tuned out in the first 5 minutes.
These guys are boring.
You're
Fuck
just
'em.
talking, man. We're your best friends, okay? We're having fun in your stead when you can't, and we're telling you about it. That's all we're doing. And so yeah, we're just like the dude out there abiding. So that's the end of this one. Keep your nose in the air and your tail to yourself.
Stay tuned. Scoops and Mischief for up next.
Yeah, Scoops and Mischief.